This is a vintage light globe. I bought a pair of these from an online auction where they were described as vintage vases. There were photographs on their sides, but one of the photos showed the holes on the other ends. I immediately recognized them for what they were and thought they would make really cool hanging planters. Now for these globes, I have 8 yards of 16 gauge copper wire. I bought this at Hobby Lobby in the beading and jewelry section. Our finished project will hang from the larger opening. Because I plan to plant a trailing vine in it and hang it on my porch, I'll leave the smaller bottom opening open rather than sealing it closed. Wire is available in several alloys and colors, but I'm really drawn to this copper color. I'm unrolling some of the wire and I'm wrapping it around the neck of the fixture. The fixture has a lip around the edge that will hold the wire in place if wrapped tightly enough. I'm wrapping it around 3 times as tightly as I can because it will be fairly heavy with soil and a plant inside. You want to hold the wire as tightly as possible while wrapping it around to keep it from loosening. Now I'm twisting the ends together, leaving a few inches loose on the free end. You want to bend the loops where the wires crisscross together as closely as possible. I'm twisting the wire 2 times. Then I'm folding the wire an inch or so away from the twist to make a tab hanger. Once folded into a sort of upside down U, I'm wrapping the longer wire around it a couple of times and then wrapping it back around the lip. Now I need to do something with the loose end. First, I slid a large wooden bead onto the wire up against the loop. Now I'll give it a decorative touch with my pliers. I'm using jewelry pliers because they're smooth in the grip area. Pliers with gripping teeth can mar the wire. I catch the wire near the bead and twist it into a curlicue, then slide on another bead. I was able to add 3 beads with curlicues in between. At the end, I just folded the wire end up tightly against the bead. Now to finish the other side. I wrap the wire back around the first loop. I cut the wire, leaving a longer tail than I had on the first side. It's better to leave a little too much than not enough because you can always trim off any excess. Then I'm feeding the wire under the loops a couple of times, pulling it snugly between wraps. This is a relatively thick glass, but please be careful doing this to avoid breaking the glass and cutting yourself. Then I form the wire tail into a loop and run the ends under the wraps and back up, giving the loop a twist using pliers if necessary. Hold the project by both loops to make sure that the loops don't slip and that when you pull the loose end, it also doesn't give any. Then finish the wire ends to match the other side, trimming any excess wire. You can use the pliers to straighten the wire loops if needed. The final step is to make a hanger. I chose to use a long wire piece to make a bell handle by looping the ends through the hanging loops and using a figure 8 twist to affix the ends around the bell. Then I attached jute tassels to the ends of the wires holding the beads to complete the boho look. I think it turned out really cute. Well, all right, y'all, I'm ready to plant these planters out. I think they look spectacular. They're each a little different, but that's okay because they're not gonna hang side by side. They're gonna hang in two different places on my old porch. I'm gonna put some soil in them. I'm gonna put a couple of little rocks in the bottom because they have real small little holes. I'm gonna put some soil in them. I'm gonna put some plants in them. So y'all hang on, let's look at this. I placed a flat stone in the bottom over the drain hole to keep the soil from all washing out. And then I filled the pot with potting soil. I had to reach in and press the soil up against the shoulders of the pot as I got toward the mouth to make sure there weren't any cavities in there. And then I brought out this little plant and potted it inside. Then I filled up around the shoulders of the pot again with more soil and pressed it in there with my fingers to make sure I didn't have any air cavities that would dry the roots out. I think it came out really cute. Then I filled the second pot the same way I had filled the first one, making sure to press the soil up against the sides. My husband volunteered to hang these because I didn't want to have to climb up on that little ladder. And the only thing we could find to hang them with was this ugly yellow plastic chain. I really wanted white chain, but that's what they had at Lowe's, so that's what we got. So I think they are so cute hanging there. I just love the color of the light fixture with the copper. I love the way the plant looks hanging in there. This is a sweetheart philodendron, and this is some sort of a succulent. I've got one more upcycle to show y'all today, but first I want to show you this house plant. It's called a devil's backbone or a red bird because it has little blossoms on it that look like red birds sitting on the limbs. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to propagate this using my next upcycle. So here is a light fixture, a light globe that did not have a hole in the bottom of it, which is more common in what you find in these vintage globes. So I did the same thing. I used the copper wire, I used some tassels made out of jute, I used some wooden beads, and I'm using this to start little plant starts. This purple is a wandering Jew. My husband loves this, and we got him a little bitty seedling about a year ago, and it just hadn't done real well. It hadn't filled out real well, so I'm trying to start him some more to tuck in the pot. And then this one is a devil's backbone, and it's also called a red bird. This was my mama's plant. When she passed, she had moved to Houston with us, but where she lived up here in East Texas, she had set all her house plants out under the tree, and they kind of got neglected. So after she passed, and we came up here to clean out her things and have the funeral and all, I saved this. It was just a little wilted piece, and I now have a big, tall, nice one, and I have another one I've started. Well, okay, y'all, I finally got these little light fixtures upcycled into these cute little hanging pots. Got some pots in them, got some plants in them. Enjoy the heat and humidity of this East Texas weather we have. Houseplants do awesome in the shade in this humidity, y'all. When you're out thrifting and you see things like that, try to think outside the box and see what you do with it. You can use it for your garden, you can use things for your porch, you can use things for your house in a different way than they were intended. Well, I've really enjoyed showing y'all what to do with these. I just hope God blesses you richly in the rest of the summer. The days are getting a little shorter, they tell me. but we're hitting 105 degrees this week, y'all, here in East Texas. So anyway, bloom where you're planted. This is Ginger with Ginger Snap Thrifting.